Happy Vlogmas, everyone. Okay, I have a list for you. I think we should just bin off the name Vlogmas and change it to Listmas and move on happily with our lives, okay? Because we be getting on some lists this month, friends. Love a list, okay? I have another one for you. In 2024, I finally hit my 50th country. Yes, applause, please. What? Okay. If you've watched my channel a lot or you know me or whatever, you know I've been banging on about this for years. I was stalled at 48 and then 49 countries just for ages. COVID didn't help. It came at the exact wrong time for this project, okay? And then after that, I just kept going to the same countries over and over again. My God, the number of times I've been to Spain, I can't even tell you, but I can't stop going because it's amazing there, okay? Anyway, I went to my 50th country, finally, in 2024. It was Australia. It was fucking amazing. We'll talk about it later. Give me a second. Okay, but then, quick succession, 51 and 52. So I've been to 52 countries now, okay, because 2024 has been very good to me in the countries department. Okay, so in honor of that, in celebration of the 52 countries, I think we should do a list. My top 10 favorite countries of the world. Yeah, my top 10 best places I've been in my experience. Based solely on my experience and literally no actual objective criteria. Okay, in no particular order and with no objective criteria at all. Number 1, Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I'd wanted to go here ever since I was a kid. Okay, I went here before I was married, before I had kids, anything. I went as an after university trip with my friend. Okay. I'd wanted to go there since I was a kid because my dad went there in the war, which is an awful reason to go, and I hate that for him. But he came back just with nothing but amazing things to say about Bosnia. Everyone's lovely and warm and welcoming. The culture's so rich. The language is amazing and gorgeous. Sarajevo, it's this tiny little ancient village in this gorgeous mountainside with all these old medieval bridges and everything. Said it was one of the most beautiful places he'd ever been. Food was amazing, blah, blah. I was like, I need to go. I had this little doll thing that he got me. I'm on this wooden plate, souvenir thing I had since I was about my kid's age, 9 or 10. So I wanted to go there for ages. Finally went there and it was a beast to get to. My God, my friend, I made her go with me. Her thing was I want to go to Romania. And I was like, fine, we can make that happen on the train, very easy. I was like, I want to go to Bosnia. So much harder. My fucking God. No train goes there, no Eurotrain, normal thing. We had to go there on a bus. We had to go there on a bus from Serbia. Okay, and we met this Serbian girl on the train. She was like, guys, listen to me, okay? She knew us, she saw us. She could see into our minds that we were green as shit and we were gonna fuck up some shit and not know that we'd done it, okay? She was like, listen to me. You get on this bus in Belgrade, you're going to Sarajevo, don't get on the wrong bus. There's 2 buses, okay? One bus is gonna take you to where you wanna go. The second bus, it's gonna strand you in a very bad place and you might disappear. We were like, and she was like, seriously. Stop. Okay, and we were like, holy shit. Okay, we gotta take this seriously now. Get on the right bus. This is the right bus, this is the wrong bus. We get to the station. I'm like, do you remember what was the right bus and what was the wrong bus? And she was like, no. And we were like, awesome, we'll pick one. And we picked the wrong one. So here we are, stranded, middle of nowhere, dead of night. Okay? Got the luckiest piece of luck ever. Okay, we ran into the nicest grandpa who was over visiting his kids from Sarajevo and was on his way back, and he was also a cab driver. Okay, and his son, who had the kids, was talking to us in English. Spoke English. He was like, what are you doing here? And we were like, we are lost and stranded. And he was like, my dad is a cab driver and he's on his way back to Sarajevo. And we were like, that is brilliant. And that guy didn't rip us off nearly at all, only a tiny bit. Very tiny monetary amount did he rip us off, and he did not drive us into the mountains to kill us. Fucking so lucky. I cannot guarantee that in another life that would have happened for us like that. But we get to Sarajevo. We're couch surfing with this random guy. He's a sort of guy about our age, sort of early 20s or whatever. He's got a broken leg and a beer, and he's driving into the mountains. We're looking at each other. Me and my friend were thinking about the knives in our boots, should we bail, blah, blah, blah. But it ended up completely fine. He drove to his friend's house. We got his friend. We drove back. We had dinner. It was amazing. It was they were so fun, so funny. Like, you walk around the city, it's so pretty. Like, and the history there isn't just medieval. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is medieval. It's like so interesting how it's sort of Muslim history and sort of like Ottoman history, but it's, you know, smack in Europe like this. So you're sort of surrounded by all this sort of like Christian Europe, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like this tiny bit of like old school Muslim Europe. And it's like got new history as well. So you're walking around and you see these like red, like filled in crater holes. And it turns out that they're little memorials to all the people that died from the bomb that landed on that spot in the war in the 90s. So you're just walking, you're like there's a corner shop, there's a restaurant, there's a bar, there's some people puking because they drank too much, there's some people dancing because they're having an amazing time, there's a big red spot on the ground because 20 people were killed there by a bomb when it fell, you know, 15, 20 years ago. Moving on, you know, another bar, a graveyard full of white crosses, you know, another bar like that. It's so like, just like medieval gorgeousness and modern happiness and life and vivacity just smack up against like very recent horrors. Do you know what I mean? It's so gorgeous. I recommend. Okay, I need to go faster though because my God, I'm gonna run out of time to do this video. Number 2, Ireland. Because I'm American. How could I not say Ireland? Okay, this is one of the very first countries I ever fell in love with in my entire life. I've been to the Republic and also to Northern Ireland and loved them both. Gorgeous. And I've been a million times. Went the first time when I was about 15. It's one of the very first countries I ever went to outside the United States. Thought it looked like a fairy tale. Sort of like Celtic, just wonderland. Okay, the green of it. My God. Okay, castles, of course. Love that shit for us, okay? Pubs where even though we were 15, 16, they were willing to serve us beer. So amazing. I went another time again with my friend on that same trip that we went to Bosnia. And we were hanging out with this guy. We were like couch surfing with this guy from Dublin. And he just like kept telling us a million times that Ireland is not like it is on TV. You know, American movies, American TV, their portrayal of Ireland is nothing like what Ireland is actually like. But then he kept having to say it because it kept happening against what he would say. So we were like in the pub. We were just talking, you know, and he's like, see, this is very much not like, you know, if this was an American movie, everyone would start singing. And then a bunch of people would start singing. Like, someone would just, like, whip the fuck out a fiddle. Do you know what I mean? Another guy would just, like, have a guitar. And they'd just, like, start singing, like, a really, like, Irish ditty, you know? Like a reel, you know? People get up and start dancing, and everyone starts singing along. And he's like, I swear to God, it's not like this. And we're like, right, bro, you know? And then this other time, like, yeah, there was, like, a parade in the road for no reason. In the Republic, not in the north, not the bad kind of parade, just like the normal kind, you know, and it was like Irish dancers. They were like doing a thing, like Irish dancing in the road, and he's like, it's not normally like this, like, it, you know, American movies, they don't portray Ireland properly, and we're like, like, you said that before, friend, like, this looks pretty fucking Irish to me, innit, you know. Anyway, then later on we ditched that guy. Turns out he was really into my friend, and then when she was like, actually, I'm not really that interested because I'm into this other guy at home, he was like, well, fuck you then, and he took her money. Travels. But we ditched that guy. We ended up at this bar sort of down the road from like the Guinness factory or something. We were just in there. It was like a punk bar or something. We were drinking. We only had like a bit of money left because we were leaving like the next day. We weren't going to be in the European Union anymore, so we didn't need any euros. We like looked about between us and we're like, oh, I think we can afford like one drink and we'll drink it between us. So we give the guy the money and he's like, actually, we do have like a thing where if you give us your underpants, you can drink for free. And we were like, okay, so I went in. I had brand new underpants that I just bought because I ran out of underpants and had to buy new ones. But my friend was dealing with that problem in a completely different way, which is just to wear the same underpants over and over again. So they were like old as well. They were like from high school and they had like a hole in them. And she just like handed them over and she's like, that's your problem now, those smelly, holy underpants. And I was really depressed because mine were brand new. Anyway, he like clipped him up to a thingy. And then we just stayed there. Stayed there all night as a lock-in, just drinking free beer that whole time, and got absolutely fucked, and then somehow had to get home. I don't know how we got back to our hostel, don't ask me. It's a mystery. Maybe it's fairies, because Ireland, fucking fairy land. Don't care what that guy said. It is like that. Okay, number 3, Estonia, okay? So this one, if you don't know, is a bit is a bit out of the way. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you, it's a Baltic country. It's by Lithuania and Latvia and Finland. It's sort of across the water, like from Helsinki in Finland, you can like get on a ferry, and I think it's like an hour or so down to Tallinn, the capital of Estonia. So it's kind of related to Finland, sort of culturally and linguistically, sort of like Scandinavian in that way, but also it's right next to Russia, and it was previously part of the Soviet Union. So it's also got like this sort of Eastern European, like Soviet influence, okay? But Tallinn is so gorgeous. It's like another sort of fairy tale land. It's like a fairy tale village. Like when you think of like Disney movies about European towns, that's what Tallinn looks like bits of castles and just like ancient walled town sort of stuff all together. And everyone there is so nice and so sort of welcoming, and quite a lot of people do speak English. Like, I know that that shouldn't be like a reason that it's good, because, you know, fuck English and the influence, like whatever, fuck it. But it did make it seem more to me like everyone was really welcoming, because, you know, the ability to speak to them does help that, unfortunately. But also food, banging. They had this like dough ball, like pastry thing. I think it was mainly in Lithuania that we had this, like a zeppelin. It's like this like massive pierogi thing, but I think they also had it in Estonia, and it was delightful. It was like, I think like potatoes and something. So good, so stodgy and amazing. Also, things were like relatively cheap as well. Like, I don't know what they'd be like now, because I went, I think, first of all, with work, maybe when Emma was real little, so maybe like 5, 6, 7 years ago. And then also, again, with my friends when we went to visit Finland like a couple of years ago. But everything's sort of like relatively cheap. So if we were staying in Helsinki and everything was like, my God, so expensive. And then we went over the water to Tallinn, and it was like, you know, a breath of fresh air, because things, you know, you could afford them again, and it was fine. But again, just like Bosnia, because they're part of the Soviet Union and they hated that, okay, their history, again, ancient, medieval or whatever, bumps up against with modern history. So they finally got their independence back from the Soviet Union, and they're bricking themselves all the time, fucking shitting themselves, because Russia is just always just, it's just there. It's just ready to go again, maybe. Do you know what I mean? And they've got their independence back. They're looking to just sort of like throw that shit fucking off, throw that, leave it in the past. But it's always just sort of like looming on their doorstep. And they've got all these like little things around, sort of like showing plaques which sort of say about the history, like this town is originally from, you know, the year 200 or whatever, and then they'd sort of like do a timeline of their history up until like Estonia regains its independence in like the 1990s or whatever. It's like it's a big deal that they've regained their independence and they don't want to lose it again. And I love that. I love that about them. I love that about the country. Okay, number 4. I gotta go faster because my God, this is gonna be such a long video. Georgia. Not the state, not the American state, okay? The country next to Russia again, and like Armenia and Azerbaijan, like the Caucasus sort of area, okay? I love this country. Actually, I loved all 3 of them, like the Caucasus sort of countries, Armenia and everything. So Georgia, the capital, Tbilisi. Okay, so we went to Tbilisi, but we also went to like this massive mountainous place. I think it's like Ushkuli or something, where they have these medieval towers. It's like farmland and everything, just like still people, you know, living on sort of very traditional farms, but with these massive like medieval tower things, sort of, I think mainly for sort of defensive purposes they used to be for, you know. But also sort of bang right onto the Russian border, and they as well feel like a resistance to that. They don't have like a good relationship with Russia. It's again another sort of constant threat for them, you know. And I don't like, I'm not like drawn to that. I'm not like, let's go to countries that hate Russia. Like, it's not like that, okay? It's more like countries that have like a strong sense of their own like independence, you know what I mean? Like countries that feel strong in themselves with sort of bravery against this sort of constant threat and this constant danger. They're sort of like standing strong against that. And I feel like it affects culture, you know, and language and behavior and attitude of the people that are there, and sort of makes them, I don't know, seem, I don't know, strong and brazen and like proud, you know. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but Georgia was a fucking riot. It was so weird. So there was this one guy in this homestay that we stayed at. Like, we stayed with this old woman and her family, and she was just feeding us loads of food, just like putting out her own dishes. And she's like, you want more, you want more, you want more. And it was like just like an array of like dishes that were absolutely gorgeous. Food I've never had before, probably never will do again because I don't know the fucking names, okay? But they were so good, so creamy and lush. I even said to her, I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm a vegetarian. And she was like, it's fine, it's fine. And just like in everything potatoes. Potatoes and cream, basically. But her son, or like a guy that was staying with her, wanted to visit Britain and America, but he needed someone to like write him letters of like of welcome before you get visas. So we had me and James like write him letters of welcome or whatever. That was weird. Also, we went down the road to this like museum, the Ashkuli Museum or something, and it was this random guy with just like a bunch of stuffed goats, one of which like the horn was like coming off. It was like at an angle, but he'd taken his belt and he'd like propped it back up just with his belt. So it was like a dead stuffed goat with like a belt on his horns like this, with like a wonky horn. Oh my god. And it, like the guy telling us, like, he was so interesting, like telling us the sort of like history of the area, but just with like this fucking wonky goat. Like, I just fucking couldn't do it. But then also we walked down the road a bit, like it's sort of like a hike, and we said to the lady, oh, we're gonna go for a hike, and she packed us a little lunch. And one of the things she packed us was just like a tomato. Like, it wasn't on a sandwich, it wasn't anything, it was just a tomato. Like, I think it was supposed to be like an apple. Like, maybe in Georgia they just eat them like apples, these tomatoes. I mean, I did eat it like that, and it was fucking delightful, you know. Don't know why we don't do that here. Anyway, loved it. We went to this like glacier thing, where it was like a hanging glacier, and it was sort of melting a bit, like things were sort of falling off, but people were still going in. I'm like, pretty sure it's not safe in there, guy. Hello, don't go in there. People were doing it anyway. And we met this random guy with like this massive knife, and I was like, what the fuck's he gonna do with his knife? And it turns out he just wanted to take a picture with me and his knife. He was like, he got his daughter in front to like do a photo, like a photo of me and him and his knife. And then James joined us, so then it was like me and James and him and his knife. Like that. Fucking wild. Like, Georgia, man. It was nuts, but it was amazing. Everyone was so nice. Like, holy shit. And it was so cool. Okay, that was it. Oh shit, also I got rockin' food poisoning from this like beach hut in Batumi. Oh my god. And then had to get on a marshrutka, which is like a sort of Soviet van that's like their public bus system in these like mountainous areas. We were going up to this like Ushkuli thing from Batumi, and it was like the shocks. It was like a 1960s sort of van. Like, no shock. It just kept doing like this. The guy up front was just like lighting cigarettes off other cigarettes, and the gasoline smell and the cigarette smell. And then every time we stopped, something weird would get on, like a chicken, you know, or like someone loaded a whole fridge, you know, and I was just like sitting there like just wanted to puke all over myself while this guy loaded a fucking refrigerator. Like, that was the worst fucking time. But also, looking back on it, very interesting and educational. Okay, next one is Germany. I was born in Germany, little known fact. Okay, I only lived there, I think, for like a year of my life, but also have German heritage, and I feel very connected to my German heritage, particularly because I was told by 23andMe that I am genetically set to be 10% heavier than women my age and height, which makes me feel very deeply connected to, like, you know, alpine farmers' wives, you know, like, fucking, like, I'm a brick house, okay? You cannot blow me over. Winter is coming, and I am a powerhouse. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Anyway, I'm not going to talk a lot about Germany because I feel like loads of people have been to Germany. You know how fucking cool it is, okay? But I will say that our trip to Oktoberfest was a fucking riot. Oh my fucking god. Like, we met the most random people, the coolest people, so fun, okay? We bought dirndls, you know, like the proper traditional German sort of outfit, and I looked awesome in it. I looked so cool. Like, we just had the best ass night, okay? And then our friend, David, who we were staying with him, we had to get back from Munich to his hometown, like a bit down, but we couldn't find the train station because we were so drunk, and he was the drunkest of all of us, and he was no help. So I saw this police officer, do you know what I mean? And I was like, I'm gonna ask that police officer where the train is. And he was like, don't do that. He was like, oh, don't do that. Like suddenly he was sober as fuck. He was like, don't talk to that police officer. And I was like, why not? I talk to a fucking police officer I want to. And he was like, no, that's not a regular cop. That is a terrorism cop. And he was like in all black. It's like a fucking mask thing. And like a fucking fuck off Uzi. You know, like just a massive machine gun. Really intense boots. Really intense face. You know. But I was drunk as fuck. Do you know what I mean? And I was like 22. You know, and blonde. You know, I was like, I'm gonna fucking ask this guy about it. I went up to him and he was like, and I was like, excuse me, where's the train? And he was like, oh, I'll tell you now. It is just down the road. You take a left and then you take a right. And then when you come to the so-and-so, then you're going to turn that and it is that. Thank you. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. He was like, you're very welcome. And then he went back to being like really fucking hardcore. Anyway, brilliant, brilliant. Love Germany. Love the fuck out of Germany. Anything anyone says, like, I've been there now a couple times. Like, I went again for work and we went to the Christmas markets. A fucking mulled wine from a fucking Christmas market from a fucking tiny fuck off Santa shaped mug is just the exact bliss I'm looking for in my life. As well, they had like actual donkeys. It was like a manger, but real. It's like real donkeys. I can't. Next one, and this is where we really get into it, okay? Australia. I went there this year. I went in March. Oh my god. It's like, so the journey there was the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. It's like a 9-hour flight to Singapore and then like another fucking 6-hour flight to Australia. Like, it made me want to fucking die. I regularly fly so 9-10 hours home to America and I hate it. By the end, I'm about ready to completely renounce my citizenship because why would anyone do that to themselves? Okay, even to get home for Christmas. But then, not only that, I had to get right back on basically 30 minutes later after a refuel and fucking do it again. It was the worst. But it was so worth it. Australia, man, is so sunny. Oh my god. Everyone's so nice and funny. The fucking banter, okay? The bants coming off Australians is like next level. Okay, I thought Welsh bants was top-notch bants. Turns out Australian bants, it beats it. Okay, like the fucking fresh fruit, the Asian food. Like, I got on this kick for this fucking fresh fruit, man. And I came back to Wales and I tried to get fresh fruit here, and like I saw a fucking like moldy kiwi at Tesco, and I just thought, fuck it here. Everything is shit outside of Australia. How do I move there, honestly? Because everything now outside of Australia seems fucking shit. Like, the birds are fucking better. We saw fucking kangaroos. They're cute as fuck. We saw bats. Bats are like fucking flying dogs. They're gorgeous. I love them. Fucking loved everything about Australia. And being apart from my new love of Australia physically hurts me, honestly. Like, let's all go there and just live there and stay there forever. That's what I think we should do. Okay, next one, Morocco. Okay, so James and I went to Morocco before we even married. That's where he proposed to me. That's where he asked me to marry him, was in Morocco. And like, we went on this really cheesy tour into the desert. So the Sahara Desert, like, it only touches Morocco by like a fingertip. Like, there's this tiny bit called like Erg Chebi or something that just sort of like comes up into Morocco, and it's the part of the Sahara Desert with like, you know, the sort of shifting sand dunes and like the sort of, you know, camels and stuff like that, but it's just the very edge. So we did this super cheesy tour into this like Erg Chebi Sahara thing in Morocco, and we stayed in this like Bedouin tent thing, and we like went on these camels. Like, don't, okay, like the cheesiness of it now, saying it out loud, I can't, okay, but it was fucking amazing. The camels were fucking awesome. Like, this one fat guy had a really big hard time with his camel because his camel fucking hated him, okay, but the camels, they fucking loved me, okay? I'm a fucking camel whisperer as far as I'm concerned. I'd never met a camel in my whole life. Immediately made friends with literally all of them. The guy was like, these like you. I was like, I know. Anyway, so we take these camels into the desert. We stay in this tent. We have this like Bedouin meal or whatever. Like, they sort of prepared this sort of like fire thing in the desert. And then James, he's like, hey, we should like go on a wander. It's like gorgeous night stars, just like vast, dark, you know, sky with like stars and everything. It's like, we should go on a walk. And we go away out there, and then that's where he proposed. He had a ring that he'd also like acquired earlier in the trip in another part of Morocco, in like, you know, like a market, like some sort of, you know, side like market thing. It was silver. Oh, it's this. It was this one. I don't know if you can like see. So it was like random and like quite cheap, I think. I think it was like the equivalent of 20 quid, and he like talked him down from it as well. But it's proper silver, you can tell, because things that aren't silver give me like a rash or like a green sort of thing. It never has. In the sort of 15 years or whatever it's been on my finger, it's been completely fine. Anyway, like it was fucking amazing. Like he cried, I cried, just the fucking desert, the fucking sky, the sand. And then we went back to the tents with like the rest of the people from the tour, and he said about it, and they all like clapped and they were like, oh, you know, and like I was like, this is so amazing, like the Belgian guy or whatever, he was like, congratulations, blah blah. It was just the best time. Morocco was so lovely. Like as well, in the city that we sort of like originally stayed in our hotel and everything, like I don't like the word exotic, obviously, because it's a super subjective sort of thing, isn't it? And it's a bit passé, to be honest. But it was the place most unlike any other place I'd ever been or had come from in my life at that point in my time in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like it was the furthest away from home I'd ever felt in my life, sort of, not physically but culturally. It was so different. It was sort of the first time I sort of like woke up in the morning to sound of like the muezzins, you know, sort of like the towers where they do the call to prayer, you know, out to the city in the morning. It was just, oh my god, like the perfect sort of sound and music and feeling. Anyway, okay, next one, Montenegro. Okay, I went here this year in the summer with Karen and Marcella. Okay, both have booktube channels that you should watch because they're amazing. We went to Montenegro, which, if you don't know, is next to Serbia. It used to be part of Serbia. It used to be Serbia and Montenegro, but they've split off since then. And now it's basically a cheaper Spain, or a cheaper Croatia, really. Croatia is more the cheaper Spain, and now Montenegro is like the cheaper Croatia. It's like a sort of Mediterranean beach vacation without Mediterranean beach prices. Also, it's sort of like untouched in my mind by tourism. Like obviously they do have tourism there. They have like tourism from Russia and from the rest of the sort of like former Yugoslav countries. I think like people from Bosnia and Serbia, maybe not Bosnia, well some people from Bosnia, I guess like that part of Bosnia, but like they come to Montenegro to sort of like take their family to the beach and stuff like that. So there is tourism there, but it's not like the kind of tourism that you see in Croatia and Spain. It's like, you know, global tourism. It's not like that. It's more regional. And so it makes it sort of more, I don't know, authentically sort of homey. It still like retains a lot of, you know, what a place is before it gets overrun by tourism. Do you know what I mean? And it has a lot of these sort of Mediterranean looking red walled cities up close to water, you know, with like red roofs and sort of like, you know, passageways, like walled passageways through and everything, with like buildings sort of like built into the walls. And it's sort of like the pearl of the water, like you see like the blue water and then like the red villages sort of like coming up, like looking all sort of medieval and like fairy tale like. As well, again, because it's sort of like a Balkans sort of place, it's got a lot of the same sort of like tasty food that you get like say in Serbia or like Bosnia or Croatia or whatever. As well, I really like that it was also sort of touched by this sort of Balkans conflict in the 90s that was sort of like Bosnia and Croatia was also part of. But it's really interesting to sort of be in it and see how well it's working to sort of overcome these ghosts of its sort of recent past. Like we went on a trip from Montenegro to Croatia and we went through like the passport thing and everything getting through, and the Montenegrin woman who was our tour guide was sort of laughing with the Croatian guy at the gate for the passport gate or whatever. I don't know, like it's hard to sort of explain. I don't know, I feel like just how 20 years can change a place so intensely. Do you know what I mean? How people move upward and onward in a 20-year period, you know. Montenegro is trying to join the EU and you can see it. You can see that they're just short of this like EU thing. Like you know, everything's much cheaper and sort of the rules are quite different and more lax and stuff like that. But you can tell that they're sort of moving towards something. They're sort of progressing toward this sort of like economic sort of powerhouse situation, you know, as being part of the EU. And I love that for them. I think that's lovely. But that does mean that you're gonna have to get in there before they're part of the EU, or them prices, they be going up, friends, get in there, quick. Okay, next one, we're getting to the end. Cuba. Okay, Cuba, love Cuba. And I'm gonna tell you mainly for why, okay? I am American and I am very grounded in the West, all feet in the West, okay? And as a receiver, as a full receiver, my whole life of American and Western propaganda, okay, to me, Cuba has been demonized, okay, and it's in my very core, it's in my very being, okay, it's impossible for me to shed it so completely because it's so much a part of my experience and things I've learned and things I know about the world, okay. Then going to Cuba was like a fucking mind blown. Okay, I'd never been to a communist country in my life before. Okay, so everything was wild in my experience. Like going to the grocery store and everything is white. All the cans of everything, it doesn't have a brand, it doesn't have a color, it's white. It just says beans. You know what I mean? People go there, they have like a ration. They go to get their oil ration. That's all the cooking oil they can have. Like that's their ration, but everyone gets it. Okay, there ain't nobody going without oil. Okay, like the cars as well are old cars because the cars mainly come from before the communist government took over. So they're all American cars, like from the 50s. All of these 1950s fucking cars, just people just like souping them up. They're still working on them. Like you'll see them broken down in the road and people are just underneath like fucking sorting them out. And then they're fine again. Like these old cars, like before they're sort of hooked up to all these computers, you can just fucking get down there, get a wrench, fucking sort out any problem with a car. Okay. As well, we went to like the museum and like sort of talking to everyone, learning loads of stuff, reading loads of stuff. Like there's a million things amazing about Cuba, about the Cuban government, about the Cuban economy. Like, I mean, not everything's amazing. Some things are actual like shite, dog shite, and you know, that's fine. But there's so much good about Cuba that I never would have known had I not gone to Cuba. Like being in the West and being American, these are things no one is interested in telling me. They don't want me to know that, like, you know, the medical training rate, the number of doctors and things in Cuba is like higher than a fucking shit ton of other places. Do you know what I mean? And that the quality of their education is fucking better than a fucking load of other fucking countries. Do you know what I mean? Like, they don't want me to know good things about Cuba. So unless I sort of go specifically seeking out positive news about Cuba, I'm never gonna fucking know enough because everything I know about Cuba is just propaganda. Do you know what I mean? And that blew my fucking mind, bro. Like, also, hilariously, my friend got her phone taken by a nana in the museum. She got conned. She got conned so hard. And I would never laugh in her face about this because I think she's still really upset about it. But the nana was like, I take a picture. And my friend was like, okay, handed it over. Gone, that nana. I'd never seen a grandma run so fast. My God. Anyway. Cuba, also gorgeous. The water, like blue water, cliffs, like, you know, gorgeous old like navy buildings and stuff, like fucking Pirates of the Caribbean action. Do you know what I mean? Fucking so gorgeous. Amazing. Okay, last one, and this was hard to choose honestly because there's absolutely loads of countries that I love, but I'm gonna go with, I think, India. And that is because of just the fucking sheer assault of the senses that is India. Like, it's impossible to be bored or relax at all. Everything is just like fucking colors, noises, smells, fucking, you know, people talking, people shouting, things running across the road. Like, it was impossible to have a moment to just like chill the fuck out. But I feel like that was good. I feel like my husband, like, after a while, he couldn't take it anymore. But me, I love it. Like, I thrive on novelty. I love things going on all the time. And everything was something fucking brand new. Like, I'd see something, I'd be like, fuck me, I've never seen that before. And then, you know, fucking cow, you know, eating a mango off a kid, you know, fucking just a dude, you know, squatting in the road having a poop, you know, reading a newspaper, you know, like just weird birds I'd never seen before, sort of just like flying together and like doing their necks like this. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely gorgeous and amazing. We got invited to this random wedding just in the road. So there was like this like thing going on. It was like part of the wedding where like the bride or whatever goes along the road on her way to like the groom's house or like whatever, something like this. And they sort of like do loads of dancing. There's like music and everything going on. And we were walking and we were just like got part of it. Ended up part of it. Ended up like they were feeding us as well. Like we got invited to this bit with like all these dishes of food. It was fucking amazing. Everyone in India, like so welcoming, so warm, so lovely. Do you know what I mean? As well, hilarious. Absolutely fucking hilarious. Because we're super pasty white. Like I have a fucking white skin issue. Also light hair, light eyes. The fact that I was there just trying to do normal stuff in their area, it was also like for them, they were like, what the fuck, like something they'd never seen before, just like a fucking blonde pasty ass woman just like eating up food by them, you know. So I was like in this theater, we were watching a Bollywood film and I had to go pee, so I went into the stalls and I closed the thing, took my pants down, I'm sitting there having a wee. All of a sudden like the door bangs open, and like as you do when you open the door and somebody's in there and you didn't realize, you're like, oh fuck, and you shut it, you know, like I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. But no, because I'm the whitest person that little girl's ever seen in her fucking life, she banged it open and then was like, for ages I had to be like, excuse me, so sorry. I had to like waddle over with my like butt out, shut the door like this. And like loads of times people wanted me to take pictures with their babies, so I'd be like taking a picture of like, you know, an ancient monument or something, and then I get like a tap on my shoulder like, excuse me, so someone would just hand me their baby and then take a photo of me, and like the monument's like over there, like it's not even in the background, the picture is solely me and their child like this. Anyway, fucking amazing. Fucking India, number 10. Okay, I think that's it. That's the end. That's all the countries. Okay, I'm so sorry that this video is so fucking long. That's on me. I did not think that I would have so much to say about each one of these countries, but I fucking love them so much. Anyway, if you have any questions, concerns, thoughts, anything, countries you think I should visit, your favorite country that you've been to and I didn't say it, so you think that I should know it so that I can go there in 2025, please tell me that. Or like a country you think was not good and maybe I shouldn't go there. Like, I mean, I don't want to be negative or anything, but this is kind of information you need. Do you know what I mean? Also, you know, any kind of comment, any concern, any question, anything at all. Thank you. I will see you tomorrow. Okay.